Okay, so hi and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm back with another GAA Offseason that Works video, and today it's the really popular topic of nutrition. So what should I eat for sport? So I've got a lot of questions sent in about this, obviously, and what should I eat before training, what should I eat after training, how much food should I eat, if I want to build muscle and get bigger, how much food should I eat if I want to lose weight, what should I be eating maybe before bed, or what should I be eating first thing in the morning, how much does stuff like vegetables and that matter, how much does calories matter. These are all nutrition questions, and they're all complicated and can have long answers in their own right. But today I'm going to give you a short video on nutrition, and if you can understand this, it's going to simplify absolutely everything you need to know about eating for sports performance, no matter what your sport is, particularly our sport for Gaelic football. If you can master the basics, just like the training, master the few simple fundamentals and repeat that over time, that's essentially the key to getting the most out of your training on the pitch, getting the most out of your training in the gym, and just living leaner, stronger and healthier. So with that being said, let's start the video. Alright, so to start the video, I'm going to talk about the big news in the GAA this week, which is a manager lost his job. So Jim Gavin stepped away from the Dublin senior team. So I am a massive fan of Jim Gavin, but I'm a massive fan of all managers in all sports. I really have a thing for researching the methods that the top coaches, top managers use, the language they use, the way they leadership is a funny thing. Like, you could have a leader like Brian Cody versus Jim Gavin versus Mickey Hart versus Jack O'Connor, all very, very different personalities, all very, very different leadership styles, but obviously all very successful in their own right. What fascinated me a lot about Jim Gavin was he was a real practicer of stoicism, of not showing any emotion, not showing any emotional reaction to things, which is pretty unusual in the GAA. I try and remain calm most of the time myself at the sideline, but Jim Gavin was just a whole different level. He didn't say words, just sat down, had his earpiece in and took in all the information. But one thing that Jim Gavin and Jim Gavin's Dublin team really brought in was this emphasis on the process. So we all heard numerous times, loads of different interviews, all the players getting interviewed, Jim talking himself, and he would just be talking about the process. So I was fascinated by this. Why did it keep coming up? Everyone knew about the Dublin process, and we just stick to the process and stay present. What does it actually mean, or more important than what does it mean in a technical term, what did they mean by saying that? So I did a lot of research into it, and the process was made very, very famous by the highest paid coach in the world, which is Nick Saban of the Alabama American college football team. So if you just YouTube or Google the process, Nick Saban. Nick Saban is the most successful college football coach of all time. What he meant by the process is you want to be process orientated, not goal orientated. So if we take the obvious example right behind us here of nutrition, you don't want to be a goal of I want to be this lean or I want to be this strong. You focus on what do people who are this lean or who are this strong, the end result, what do they do every single day, what's their process. So in the last video I talked about a 40-year-old GAA player, or numerous different GAA players who played club football for 20 years. I guarantee as success leaves clues, their process would be pretty similar in terms of how do they mind their bodies, what foods do they eat, how much they train, all that sort of stuff would be their process. So you'd be far more likely to get applicable information that you can apply and that can help make you better by studying their process and what they do every day, rather than looking at their end result, which might be winning a county title or playing for a long time or being a good footballer in general, and saying, I want to be like that. You'd be better off studying what's their process, what's their day-to-day routines like. If we break that down into the team, into the Gaelic football team, How do we improve our process? How do we improve what we do on match day? Well, let's break apart all the individual parts. What's our warm-up like? What's our team talks like? What's our video analysis like? What's our kick-out strategies? Our tactics in general? What do we do when we're defending? What do we do when we're attacking? And break apart all the little pieces of the process, and then you're constantly focused on what's next and what's in front of you, and not the end result, which could cause anxiety, or you losing focus on the present moment and focusing on winning the game or winning the county title, which you don't need to focus on to win. What you need to focus on to win in anything, sport, business, life in general, is the thing that's in front of you on the day-to-day, and not be thinking too far ahead. So focus on the process. For an individual player, how could you apply the process to your own individual play and how to get better? Well, how do you cope when there's pressure on your right foot? Or how do you cope when there's pressure on your left foot? Can you kick off both? How could you improve your process so that when this happens, I can do this? Training is the perfect example of process, because it's just reinforcing habits that become ingrained and then show up on game day. Now, the thing is, if you have a bad process, you're going to ingrain bad habits, and the bad habits will show up on game day where you don't want them the most. But if your process is good in training and you're constantly practicing how to tackle properly, how to hand pass off both hands, kick pass off both feet, shoot from the right areas, then you're constantly reinforcing this process that will, when it comes to a game, you're going to be a better individual footballer. And of course, the GAA 12-week off-season that works is a process. If you can apply all this stuff and learn to make it habits and rituals and improve your process in the gym and sleep with nutrition, then you're going to become a far better footballer than looking at the dream player, maybe like Lee Keegan or Jack McCaffrey or someone like that, and saying the end result, I want to be like that. It's far more important to pick up habits and improve your day-to-day process as you're going along. Just to finish on that point, I do recommend checking out Nick Saban, look at some of his speeches. That's where the phrase the process 100% came from, and the Dubs and Jim Gavin started applying it after that. Look up some of his speeches, see what he's saying, see does it resonate with you, maybe it'll motivate you, maybe it'll make something click in your head, make you want to get better at something in a certain way. But he's a super talker and one of the best coaches in the world in any sport, no doubt. Okay, so on to nutrition. I love talking about this, it's a big passion of mine. It's literally my day job. So today, to start the video, I'm going to call this diet the GAA bodybuilding hybrid diet. Okay, just to be controversial, just to get people, how do you mean bodybuilders and GAA players? They shouldn't be eating alike. Well, it turns out they have far more in common than they do difference. Now, I spoke about this in exercise programs. You know, the different sports, rugby, soccer, Gaelic, American football, basketball. Let's look at the similarities of great players and great athletes and not the differences. So bodybuilding and GAA nutrition, they're pretty much exactly the same. The only difference is the GAA player doesn't go to the extremes. He doesn't go to the extreme high calories of bulking, and he doesn't go to the extreme low calories of getting absolutely shredded, okay? So I'm going to put up a video just to illustrate what it means to get absolutely shredded. I'll put up a video of Keen, and I'll put up a video of myself. And that's what it is when you're really shredded lean everywhere, muscle definition in every muscle in the body. That's what it takes. It takes the extremes to get down there. And GAA players don't need to go to this extreme, but they do need to get lean. Okay, so they don't need to get competition, show day lean, photo shoot lean or whatever, but they definitely do need to get lean. So they need to apply the same principles, just not go to the extremes. Then the next thing I'll do is put up a video of bulking calories. So I got up to 88 kg, I'm 76 kg right now. I got up to 88 kg on 5,000 calories a day, 600 grams of carbs. There's absolutely no reason for any GAA player trying to put on muscle to go to those extremes. Probably no reason for a bodybuilder to either, unless he's a lot bigger than me. But I wanted to get bigger, like I saw all the little guys, and I put on massive amounts of calories. The surprising thing about this video and how heavy I got is I actually did it with 90% clean foods, you know, white rice, maple syrup, brown rice, bananas, stuff like that. It wasn't me packing in shit food, and Keane and Dave can vouch for that. I was eating massive amounts of cleaner foods, but I still gained a lot of body fats, because calories is the most important thing. With that being said, let's jump into what I actually mean and the essentials of that diet, and how it's going to help you build muscle or lose fat or do a combination of the both, and how it's going to help you maximize performance in the gym and maximize performance on the pitch. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about, and the most important thing, is calories. Calories is the number one thing in nutrition. That's the most important thing. How much food are you eating? That's the most important thing, bar none. Not protein intake, not how healthy the food is or how natural it is. The number one most important thing is how much food you're eating. So you do need to keep a food diary if you've never kept one before, or else you're shooting in the dark. You don't really know. Okay? Now, I'm not saying there's plenty watching this out there who could be in great shape, better shape than me, and you've never tracked the calories in your life. Sure, there's loads of people out there like that. But if you want to maximize your results from your nutrition, keeping a food diary is really, really important. Tracking calories, and through tracking calories on the MyFitnessPal app, you're going to end up with the macros and even the micros as well. So the most important thing is how much food you're eating, calories. Okay? We don't need to go into any more detail on that on calories. You need to track your food every single day, everything you put in your mouth, the good, the bad, and the ugly, for at least 6 months to a year before you start doing it unconsciously. But give yourself 3 to 6 months at least, and 6 months to 12 months if you don't have a coach overseeing you. Tracking calories for the first time is an education in itself. The second most important thing is macronutrients. So macronutrients is your proteins, fats, carbs. Proteins is your meats, fish, eggs. There's trace elements of protein in vegetables and carbohydrates and stuff like that. But for you guys watching this, just take the protein as important as for meat, fish and eggs, okay? Vegans, I'm not going to go talking about vegans or anything in this. Waste of fucking time. So protein is the most important of the 3 macronutrients. You need to get your protein intake bang on, okay? So for protein, 2 grams per kilo of body weight for men. Start with that, okay? That's pretty high. We like high protein diets in 100%. There's a reason why we get people in shape. Mine is a bit higher than that, but for you guys starting this video or watching this video, if you weigh 80 kg, you want to be hitting 160 grams of protein a day. If you weigh 90 kg, you want to be hitting 180 grams of protein a day. So if you shoot for 200, then I find with a lot of my clients they normally land around 150 to 180. But protein is the absolute essential one. It's for muscle growth and muscle repair. That's the one it's well known for. That's the one we all talk about. Oh, protein builds muscle, drink the protein shake, whatever. But it's far, far more important than that. It's vital for sleep, it's vital for hormones. It's just absolutely essential in far, far more ways than fats or carbohydrates are essential. And it's crucial if you're planning on getting lean or building muscle, maximizing your performance in the gym or on the pitch. Protein is the most important macronutrient. The second 2, carbohydrates and fats. Carbs get a bad rap, but there's nothing bad about a carb. The calorie is the most important thing. If you're eating the right amount of calories, you're not going to get fat eating a good lot of carbs. So calories is the most important thing. You don't overeat carbohydrates and get fat, you overeat calories and get fat. Sometimes those extra calories come from carbohydrates, but it's the calories that's the most important thing in general. The ones I'd eat the most would be fruit, so berries, bananas, then white rice, sweet potato, and that'll be my main source of the carbohydrates from one end of the week to the next. The last one is fats. Fats is essential as well. It's really, really important that you eat fat. Again, you won't gain body fat as long as your calories are fine from eating fat. Fat can get a bad rap. Low-fat diets tend to work for weight loss, but they work because of calories, not because you're removing fats, and fats are the enemy. I'm going to keep banging that point out because it's the most important one. The calories is the most important thing. So fats, your avocados, your nuts, and then it's found in high amounts in stuff like red meat, certain types of fish, and eggs. Let's get your calories right first, and after that we'll worry about the macronutrients. When we get our protein right with the macronutrients, the fats and carbs, let's not panic, just as long as the calories are consistent. You might be up one day in fats and down in carbs, up one day in carbs and down in fats. Keep the protein very consistent, keep the calories very consistent, carbs and fats depending on the day. Okay, so the third thing, and people are very interested in all these points on nutrition, but the third thing we're going to talk about is micronutrients. So micronutrients is your vitamins and minerals, fiber, all that type of stuff that's found inside the food. So if we have, say, 200 calories from carbohydrates from white bread versus 200 calories from carbohydrates from berries, obviously there's going to be far more micronutrients and they're going to be far healthier from the berries than from the white bread. But as long as the calories and the macros are the same, it's not going to have a substantial difference on gaining body fat or losing body fat. But it will be better for your overall health to eat a diet that's high in micronutrients. So green vegetables, single ingredient foods have higher micronutrients. So if I left a food down on the counter here and it goes off over the next 2 days, then chances are that food only has one ingredient. So a potato, vegetables, a steak, fish. If we left these on the counter and came back two days later, they're all single ingredients, they're all whole foods. They're going to go off very quickly. Those foods tend to have higher micronutrients. Processed foods. If we left a bar of chocolate here or any sort of junk food or processed food, and you come back 2 days later and it looks exactly the same, that food is far more processed and chances are it's lower in micronutrients. So that's a simple way of looking at it. It's not like any rule, it's not 100% true all the time, but as general, if you leave something on the counter and it goes off over 2 or 3 days, that food is higher in enzymes and higher in micronutrients than something that's processed that you can leave on the counter and won't go off. For footballers, it's always better, like the general public, to be eating foods that are more natural, single ingredient foods, higher in micronutrients. That's always a good idea, no matter what. But in terms of gaining body fat or losing body fat, the macros are more important and the calories is the most important by a long way. Okay, so the last 2 points don't really matter that much. I found this out because I have tried every single diet you can possibly think of. The most extreme low calorie diets, the most extreme high calorie diets, cleanses, everything I've done. I'll do a video on them all eventually and come around to my opinion on each and every one of them, but I've tried every single diet, and I've not just tried it for a week or two, I went to the extremes and really focused on it for 3 to 6 months at a time. So the next one, nutrient timing, doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter what time of day you eat certain foods. 100 times more important what you've been doing in the 3 months, the 6 months, the year before the game than in the 12 hours, 24 hours before the game. What you eat first thing in every morning doesn't really matter. The timing of, okay, I'm only going to eat protein and fats first thing in the morning. Sure, if you like protein and fats first thing in the morning, like I do and like I recommend a lot of our clients so they can eat carbohydrates later in the day, go with that. If you just have to have carbohydrates, porridge, you love it in the morning, you want to eat porridge in the morning, go with that. It does matter, but it doesn't matter that much at all. What you want to be focusing on, again, to re-emphasize the point, is how much calories I'm eating and how much protein that it's consistent every day, 2 grams per kg body weight. After that, this stuff matters, but it doesn't matter near as much. Covered in nutrient timing would be what do I eat before the game? What do I eat after the game for recovery? What do I eat first thing in the morning? What do I eat before I go to sleep? What should I be eating for energy before training? That stuff, just eat your normal diet with a steady level of calories, your proper amounts of protein and your protein requirement. Make sure they're mainly from whole foods, and the timing doesn't really matter. Some people like to eat an hour before a game. Scientific studies might show, okay, this person ate fats and they ran further or they did whatever. It's personal preference, okay? The devil is in the detail there. No study is going to show absolutely colossal differences from eating proteins and fats before a game or versus proteins and carbohydrates. It's just not going to make a huge difference. What makes the huge difference is your process, is your day-to-day food over the course of half a year, 2 years. That's what you want to focus on, your process every single day. You're not going to magically improve your performance on game day by doing this trick with foods right in the hours before a game. That stuff doesn't exist. And the last thing up at the top, supplements. So the most important thing at the bottom, least important at the top. Supplements. Supplements aren't important at all unless you're getting your calories bang on, unless your macros are very consistent and you're hitting your protein requirements, and unless your micronutrients are good, so you're eating the majority of whole foods. If you're doing that very well, sure, add in a few supplements. The ones that I recommend the most, and the ones I give to nearly all of my clients, once they've nailed these bottom three things first: zinc, magnesium, D3, and fish oil. But don't buy them. Do not buy them unless you're getting these three right first, or else they're a waste of money. Your calories are up and down, your protein requirements aren't being hit. Don't be wasting your money on supplements or thinking they're going to have any difference. As regards protein shakes, I don't really recommend protein shakes. I way prefer no pun intended. I way prefer people to get their protein intake from meat, okay? And it's not that hard. 150 to 200 grams of protein, which is probably the majority of people watching this video, the majority of lads watching this video, should be easy enough to hit if you just get your act together, improve your process, your cooking process. If you're improving the quality of your meals, you should be able to get enough protein in without using protein shakes. Now, I really like stuff like creatine, glutamine, glycine, L-lysine, every single supplement you can think of. I've had it at some stage and I've taken it. But don't get hung up on supplements without getting this stuff right first. If you're getting this stuff bang on, then the last 10%, this stuff is the first 90%, the last 10% will be supplements, or the last even 5% will be supplements. So don't get hung up on the last 10% and you're missing out the 90%, which is the way more important. Get on MyFitnessPal, track your food, keep an eye on your protein before you ever start worrying about supplements, especially the younger guys. If you're a little bit more advanced, I definitely recommend creatine and glutamine. They're great supplements, but again, back to the original point, only if you're getting those three things right first. I know this video is going to be massively helpful to people and it's going to answer a lot of their common questions. I hope it simplifies things and makes you understand things better. There's no magic diet, there's no magic food recipes. What you need to do is, calories is the most important thing, and calories is how much food are you eating. That's the most important thing by a mile. After that, before or after training, that doesn't really matter. Whatever you prefer to eat before or after training is fine, provided your calories and your macros are pretty good. Stay away from the extremes. You don't need to go extremely high with calories. You don't need to go extremely low with calories. You don't need to give up all junk food like chocolate bars or pizza or anything like that. You can have them once a week, say, twice a week like I have them, provided 90% of your diet is coming from whole foods, natural foods that are easy on the digestive system. And the last thing, get your protein intake right. Such a basic thing that so many people just don't do. Get your protein intake to 2 grams per kg of body weight, okay? You do that with proper weight training program. Watch your physique, your strength transform. People are so poor at getting in their protein requirements. It's so simple, it's so straightforward, but it is hard work to be very consistent with it over a 6-month to 12-month period. If you can start that right now, you'll be shocked with how much gains you can make. Protein requirement, it just helps so much when you're in a calorie surplus and you're trying to build muscle. Protein is like the key driver of muscle growth along with carbohydrates. If you're trying to lose body fat, all you're doing is going into a slight calorie deficit. Protein is absolutely essential there as well. Hit your protein requirements, watch your physique transform. Okay, so that's all from me for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I guarantee you this one is going to be the one that draws the most questions. To give you a little bit of a hand, I have turkey burgers and a rice meal up on the channel already, like a 5-minute eggs and brown bread meal, and I think I have this one on sirloin steak as well. They're all really easy, really good macros, calories pretty good as well. They're all very good recipes. They're all easy recipes that you can cook today. They're very, very simple, very straightforward. You don't need to be a master chef to eat healthy food and to make it tasty. And I will be doing more recipe videos in the future. So if you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, I always appreciate it if you subscribe, leave a thumbs up, share it. If you think someone else might find it informative or help, or if it might help their sports performance, then share it with them. Let them know that the nutrition is no different to the training. If you're doing a GAA off-season that works, it's just the basics, the fundamentals done over and over again repeatedly, and it's what will keep you in shape over time, not a magic diet to get you in brilliant shape in 12 weeks. It's what will keep you in shape and improve your process over time and help make you be the best possible athlete you can be. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.